This is an introductory discussion on complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or CPTSD. CPTSD is a psychological disorder that can develop in response to prolonged, repeated experience of an interpersonal trauma in a context in which the individual has little or no chance of escape. This is most commonly found in people that were abused or traumatized for extended periods during childhood. The abuse can be emotional, physical, sexual, neglectful, or a combination. A person can develop CPTSD later in life also from being in prolonged abusive environments like cults, kidnappings, or spousal abuse. Negative situations where a person is trapped without the ability to escape can lead to feelings of terror, worthlessness, helplessness, and warping of one's identity and sense of self. Researchers concluded that CPTSD is distinct from but similar to PTSD. Somatization disorder, dissociative identity disorder, and borderline personality disorder. Its main distinctions are distortion of the person's core identity and significant emotional dysregulation. It was first described in 1992 by Judith Herman in her book Trauma and Recovery. The disorder is included in the World Health Organization's ICD-11, but not yet adopted by the American Psychiatric Association's DSM-5. For the following series of videos, I'm going to focus more on trauma from childhood because that's where my personal knowledge and experience are. That said, the principles to recovery will look mostly the same regardless of your specific experiences in life. Growing up, everyone goes through difficult times. Even people that seem to have everything can actually be hiding a lot of pain and struggle. So when does everyday difficulty of life become something that is traumatizing or abusive? No one size fits all here. What is damaging to one person may not damage another, or not to the same extent. That's where the term good enough parent comes in. What is a good enough parent or guardian? Imagine someone buys a shelf from IKEA. They bring it home, take the parts out, and begin putting it together. At the end, there are some pieces left over. The shelf seems wobbly and different from the photo on the box. They begin to pile stuff on, and it collapses. No one is saying the person assembling the shelf necessarily didn't try to put it together to the best of their ability. All that is being said is that their best wasn't good enough for the task they were attempting. Maybe they never even tried to assemble it, or they took a hammer and smashed it to pieces. Being a good enough parent means you are able to read the needs of your child and provide for them in those areas at a sufficient level. Sufficient meaning when they grow to adulthood, they are able to go out in the world with confidence and assert their rights and needs to attain a life that works for them, that isn't plagued by self-injurious behavior or submitting to others in order to gain their temporary approval. They don't hide away and become isolated in their own minds. Some things like sexual abuse and physical abuse are more easily recognized as being traumatic. Emotional abuse is more common and more difficult for CPTSD sufferers to accept and recognize. Emotional abuse can be something you are so used to seeing it doesn't register. It just blends into the background. It's just your life. A large part of healing from CPTSD is not so much remembering the past, but recognizing how the past has shaped you into the person you are today. How that conditioning has led you to accumulate behaviors that were helpful to your survival as a powerless child, but today only hold you back. A person can respond to stress by falling into 4 types of behaviors: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. The Fawn Response was coined by Pete Walker in his book C-PTSD, From Surviving to Thriving. A person that responds with fight can become angry and lash out at someone as a defense against perceived or real threats. Flights tend to absorb themselves in work or obsessive-compulsive activities. Freeze will withdraw into themselves into daydreams. They will disassociate from their bodies at times and feel like they are floating above themselves, or locked in a dark hidden space of their mind. Fawns will try to ingratiate themselves to others by putting their own needs aside and becoming what they think others want. You may identify with some of these more than others. I will go into greater detail of these in further videos. Because a person develops these maladjusted coping strategies, their ability to function in the world is hampered. They may lose their temper and be easily annoyed. They may neglect their families in the pursuit of work. They may withdraw from society altogether or withdraw from their own needs to try to fit in. Healing from prolonged abuse and trauma is a long process. It can take years. It is a process that is only lengthened by the act of trying to speed it up. Healing demands you learn to love yourself. That means going slow and listening to when you have pushed yourself enough for that day or week. Healing is comprised of 3 stages. Stage 1 is safety and stabilization. I would highly recommend this first stage be completed as much as possible before moving on to the others. Stage 2, remembrance and mourning. Stage 3 is recognition and integration. Again, I will go into these in more detail in further videos. The key thing to think about here is the first step, safety and stabilization. That means getting yourself into a space where recovery can begin to occur. It will be difficult to recover when you are sleeping on the streets or still being attacked by your abuser. After you are safe, you can begin to explore how the events in your past shaped you and grieve for yourself. Finally, you begin to integrate what you have learned into ways to be your true self and move about the world. CPTSD robs a person of their true self. At the heart of recovery is the ability to reconnect honestly with others and to try to connect with your true self. Abuse is like a virus. It passes from person to person. It can go back many generations and continue on beyond yourself. This virus stretches throughout time and throughout every space occupied by humans on this planet. Until a vaccine is used, it will continue and spread. That vaccine is awareness and self-examination. It's doing the work to heal yourself so you don't infect others or die from it yourself. At the end of each video, I want to give you a technique you can use to help in your healing process. If you're like me, you may get absorbed into trying to learn as much as possible about something, all the while neglecting how you are feeling or becoming detached from the present moment. Try focusing on slow, deep breaths. You can use it any time to help calm yourself. Stopping to focus on your breath helps to bring you into the present. Take a deep breath through your nose. Hold it and count to 5. Blow out through your mouth. Hold that for another count of 5. Continue breathing deeply 4 more times or until you feel you want to stop. Try counting to 5 at each step. 5 seconds to breathe in, 5 to hold, 5 to breathe out, and 5 to hold. Then repeat. Breathing deeply, you can feel your muscles start to relax. Concentrate on relaxing your body. Start from your head, then relax your neck. Continue working your way down your body, breathing and being mindful of where you are holding tension. Then try to release that.